Mandela Stadium de Kampala en Ouganda. Après donc la brillante victoire face à ce même Kenya vendredi dernier à Yaoundé, eh bien les Lions d'étape devront capitaliser pour ce match retour qui va se disputer dans quelques minutes, alors que la réconciliation a été actée entre les différents protagonistes de la crise, notamment le MINICEP et la FECAFOOT. Une autre polémique a éclaté dans la tanière, à savoir cette menace de démission de Marc Brice si jamais son assistant n'était plus inscrit sur la feuille de match pour participer aux rencontres avec le sorcier belge. C'est dans ce contexte justement que va aussi se dérouler ce match Kenya-Cameroun. À suivre sur Equinox Télévision. Bienvenue à tous. Pour conduire dans ce programme, je suis avec nos deux consultants maison. Clément Zeko, bon après-midi, bienvenue.
Bon après-midi, Chachil. Bon après-midi à tout l'ensemble de nos téléspectateurs.
Avec nous également sur ce plateau, Charles Mongabi.
Bon, également dans la structure de l'équipe, avec notamment la présence d'Alwin Terra dans le 11 qui n'était pas présent à l'occasion du match aller. On va retrouver une
Christopher Wu et Jean-Charles Castelletto qui remplacent Gadeux et Castelletto parce que Wu justement est blessé. Et donc à gauche, nous, Tolo et Tchatchoua. Dans l'entrejeu, Koundé Malon, un autre qui fait sa rentrée et qui remplace Baleba, qui est sorti également sur blessure. Anguissa, on l'a pour compléter ce milieu de terrain. À gauche, Gamaleu, à droite, Bemo. Et puis donc en pointe, le capitaine Vincent Aboubaka. D'abord, un mot rapidement sur ce 11 entrants, Clément Zeko, avec ces deux petits
que Wo étant blessé. Aussi, avec ce problème de musculature, on a un peu soupçonné que ça pourrait être un problème. Donc, le problème est réel aujourd'hui et dans le 11 entrants, les deux paraissent. Ça veut donc dire que le Cameroun va montrer un autre visage par rapport à l'équipe qu'on a eue lors de la première rencontre. Et nous allons essayer de regarder pour voir si cette équipe-là sera capable de reproduire les mêmes efforts et être capable de progresser dans la performance, parce que nous remarquons que depuis qu'on a commencé, on alterne entre victoire, match nul, victoire, match nul. Maintenant, il faut passer de victoire en victoire, donc faire cet enchaînement-là. Et ça va montrer le sens du progrès. Et enfin, maintenant, on va un peu regarder pour voir quelle est véritablement la profondeur du banc de touche des Lions, quand on a vu que ceux qui ont joué les premiers matchs semblaient être déjà des ténors et des titulaires à leur poste. La preuve, c'est qu'on n'a pas changé du deuxième au troisième match. Donc voilà ce à quoi on pourrait s'attendre par rapport à la rencontre de tout à l'heure.
Charles Mongabi, mais justement, on a vu Castelletto qui est entré vendredi à la place de Christopher Wu. On a également vu l'entrée de Koundé Malon. C'est des habitués quand même s'ils sont ces derniers temps sur le banc de tous. Ça veut dire que tout de suite, ils peuvent être dans le bain de cette rencontre.
Oui, c'est des joueurs qu'on connaît. Castelletto, il n'y a pas de problème. D'ailleurs, je pense qu'une partie du public souhaitait qu'on fasse
Alors on va essayer de faire de la radio pour vous si vous voulez pas devenir complètement aveuglé par ce qui se passe sur le terrain. En tout cas, dans la structure de l'équipe, ce qu'on constate, c'est que Ndine Fiat n'a pas procédé à de changements trop radicaux. C'est bien un 4-3-3 qui est mis en place avec Onyango à droite, Abouya à gauche et Olunga en pointe. Et dans l'organisation du Cameroun, attention à Brian Bemo qui était à deux doigts de mettre en difficulté au Mondi sur ce ballon-là. Dans l'organisation du Cameroun, disais-je, on va bien retrouver Pierre Koundé à la pointe basse d'un triangle du milieu de terrain avec Zambo Anguissa et Martin Ongla et Christian Bassolog donc au poste d'ailier gauche, ce qui semble signifier que Mounin Gamaleu a été victime d'un souci à l'échauffement. Dans cette ambiance de match à huis clos où l'on entend très bien les consignes et les mots d'encouragement de Ndine Fiat. Galeux. Et la remise en jeu qui sera en faveur des Kenyans avec Otieno et Abouya, ce côté gauche qui avait plutôt fonctionné correctement vendredi au sein d'une équipe qui manquait d'agressivité. Hein. C'était les propos du sélectionneur kenyan à l'issue de la rencontre qui avait beaucoup d'ambition pour ce match-là, censé valider les progrès effectués tout au long des dernières semaines et qui s'est retrouvé face à une très bonne équipe camerounaise qui est en train de travailler très correctement autour de ses stars d'attaque. Donc Brian Bemo, bien évidemment, encore buteur vendredi, et le capitaine Vincent Aboubakar. Plus de 100 sélections, plus de 40 buts, et encore buteur sur penalty d'ailleurs en fin de semaine dernière. Onyango, il est bien remis ce ballon-là avec ensuite Olunga qui va pouvoir essayer de frapper. C'est un petit peu précipité cette prise d'initiative de la part du quand on sait à quel point l'athlétisme est important au Kenya. Il est certain que Ruth Shepnegic va devenir une énorme star avec ce chrono sous les 2h10, 2h09 minutes et 57 secondes qui éclipse sans doute un petit peu au pays le rendez-vous d'aujourd'hui des Harambee Stars comme on les surnomme. Ce ballon allait sortir et on a entendu la communication entre Ngade et Tchatchoua. Oui, ce ballon est sorti effectivement. Castelletto qui remplace donc Christopher Wu. On a tous été extrêmement marqués par les images très violentes du choc à la tête reçu par Christopher Wu. Mais très vite, Marc Brice, dès la conférence de presse d'après-match, a donné des nouvelles rassurantes du défenseur rennais. Ce qui permet à Jean-Charles Castelletto d'oublier ces quelques déboires des jours précédents lorsqu'il a été écarté par Antoine Comboiré à Nantes pour une attitude jugée néfaste au groupe. Après notamment des critiques qu'il avait reçues de la part d'Antoine Comboiré sur ses dernières performances. Bemo avec un Gade qui va s'appuyer derrière lui sur André Onana. Qui n'hésite pas à sortir pour pouvoir écarter ses actions et essayer de profiter un peu plus haut de quelques situations de surnombre. Ça nécessite un petit peu plus de prise d'initiative pour que ce soit véritablement intéressant. Zambo Anguissa. Donc là, avec Tolo. Gade. Auteur d'un bon match, hein, Gade. C'est pas forcément le joueur le plus à l'aise normalement sur les sorties de balles, mais on le voit essayer de prendre des initiatives en jouant de manière très verticale. Koundé qui profite aujourd'hui de l'absence de Carlos Baleba qui est laissé au repos. On l'avait vu prendre pas mal de coups. L'ancien Lillois lors du match face au Kenya sortir assez précocement, fatigué. C'est un jeune joueur qui enchaîne les titularisations en club et en sélection. Marc Brice a estimé pertinent de le mettre au repos aujourd'hui pour éviter de trop lui brûler les ailes. Le centre était bon et il est repoussé par Ngade directement sur Brian Bemo, en tout cas qui essayait de s'imposer physiquement. Il n'y est pas parvenu, c'est Odada qui a pris le dessus. En tout cas la pelouse qui est en excellent état hein, aujourd'hui, contrairement à vendredi où le stade de Yaoundé offrait un terrain qui était vraiment de piètre qualité. Là aujourd'hui les joueurs ont un terrain splendide et on le voit qui fuse, hein, le ballon qui prend pas mal de vitesse sur les longues transmissions, notamment celle-ci d'Akoumou. Koundé. Castelletto dans le dos de Tolo, il s'en excuse. Et Omondi pour l'instant assez serein dans ce premier quart d'heure, qui n'a pas eu d'intervention à faire face aux attaquants camerounais et qui doit simplement s'appuyer sur la qualité de son jeu au pied. Qualité toute relative sur ce dégagement qui arrive directement sur Onana, mais on l'a vu, hein, juste pied ouvert, le ballon qui a traversé l'intégralité du terrain. Terrain qui a l'air bon mais dur tout de même, on le voit au petit rebond que le ballon effectue. Là il y a une faute bien sûr, faute d'Aviré sur les milieux camerounais et en l'occurrence sur Brian Bemo qui avait passé la jambe, on le voit intelligemment pour pouvoir obtenir le coup de sifflet de l'arbitre béninois. Il a accéléré très progressivement André Onana, mais il a fini par prendre ce ballon. Ngade qui repart. Les Camerounais sont en train de progressivement réussir à porter ce ballon, le tenir et faire tourner. Alors le scénario du début de match n'est pas tout à fait le même que celui de vendredi, puisqu'ils avaient très précocement ouvert la marque par l'intermédiaire du penalty de Vincent Aboubakar, penalty qui au demeurant a beaucoup fait râler une ligne Firat, estimant qu'il n'y avait pas de faute de main et qu'il était temps que le football africain à son tour adopte le VAR et l'assistance vidéo. Koundé. Zambondi ça. Et on progresse dans les rangs camerounais avec Mbemo désormais qui peut retrouver entrée de surface de réparation, la tentative de Vincent Aboubakar et la première parade dans cette rencontre pour Omondi qui sort ce ballon de l'attaquant d'Ataï Sport. Et Mbemo qui trouve la solution malgré la densité de défenseurs sur la trajectoire de cette balle. Aboubakar qui s'applique, ballon qui est légèrement dévié en plus me semble-t-il. Et au Mondo de la jambe. Ouais, c'est bien ça, c'est effectivement un défenseur, en l'occurrence Okumu, qui dévie involontairement ce ballon et qui va revenir, mais il y aura une position de hors-jeu au départ. Contre Jackson Tchatchoua qu'on a peu vu vendredi. Ce n'était pas le côté préférentiel, ce côté droit. Il y a 3 jours, le duo Tolo Bassolog aspirait les ballons. Le voici justement nous, Tolo, absent lors de la deuxième journée parce qu'il s'était blessé à l'occasion de la première. C'est Guy Marcelin Kilama qui avait été titularisé au poste de latéral gauche, l'ancien Niortais. Ce poste qui n'est pas le sien d'ailleurs. Anyembe qui avait commencé la rencontre dans l'axe vendredi avant en seconde période avec l'entrée d'Okumu de se décaler sur le côté droit, et c'est cette physionomie de 11 que l'on avait vu en fin de match qui a été privilégiée aujourd'hui par Endine Firat. Par monsieur Mbemo Ounandandé. Tolo qui remet en une, c'est bien fait. Zambo on dit ça désormais. On est à 25 mètres du but de Chignon. C'est joliment fait de la part de Bassolog, mais on reviendra à une position de hors-jeu de la part du buteur de vendredi dernier, Christian Bassolog. C'est sur le banc dans un premier temps et titularisé. Alors c'est le coup essaye d'expliquer monsieur Endine Firat, le sélectionneur, à l'arbitre. Et en disant cela, il précise qu'il faudrait selon lui qu'il y ait un carton sorti contre Castelletto. Castelletto qui qui rend une bonne dizaine de centimètres à l'attaquant kényan. Et c'est lui d'ailleurs qu'on va essayer de solliciter avec son mètre 93. L'attaquant d'Al-Douail qui manquait de solutions pour remettre ce ballon. Et c'est ce dont il se plaint d'ailleurs auprès de ses coéquipiers. Il fait le travail sur la déviation. Le tireur fait le travail pour trouver la zone où il se trouve. Mais derrière, ceux qui doivent se projeter n'en ont pas mis assez. Ongla sera le premier sur ce ballon alors que Lunga le convoitait lui aussi. Ndiaye va le perdre. En revanche, mais aidé par Tchatchoua, les Camerounais vont le récupérer. Ça ne dure pas longtemps. Remise en jeu à venir en faveur du Kenya alors que l'on se rapproche de la 20e minute de cette rencontre, de la fin de la 20e minute de cette rencontre. Et que Otieno va effectuer cette remise en jeu. Joueur qui évolue en République tchèque, Otieno. Un effectif de joueurs composés aux quatre coins de l'Europe notamment, mais pas que, par Endin Firat. Des joueurs évoluant au Danemark, en Suède, en Écosse, mais également en République tchèque, on l'a dit, au Qatar, en Iran, au Kenya bien sûr. C'est le cas notamment d'Omondi, le gardien aujourd'hui. Oh, la perte de balle de Jean-Charles Castelletto. Et le ballon qui peut être intéressant pour Olunga. Olunga qui se remet sur son pied gauche. Olunga qui donne ce ballon. C'était pas forcément le bon choix. Et derrière le choix d'aller trouver côté gauche la présence d'Abouya. Aviré qui ne parvient pas à conclure. Très grosse situation et très grosse perte de balle aussi de la part de Jean-Charles Castelletto. Et Olunga qui a préféré donner ce ballon plutôt que d'essayer de négocier son duel avec André Onana. Une fois, ça c'est bien fait en revanche, la remise, même si c'est pas forcément évident à négocier pour Aviré. Et Castelletto qui va pas se rassurer avec ce ballon-là. Onana attendait la frappe d'Olunga. Et le retour aussi de Jadson Tchatchoua pour gêner Aviré au moment de frapper, mais frayeur là pour les Camerounais et pour Castelletto en particulier qui remplace, on le disait tout à l'heure, Christopher Wu, mais qui ne faisait même pas partie de la première liste de Marc Brice pour ce rassemblement, puisqu'il n'a fait que compenser le forfait d'Encham pour cette trêve internationale, enfin cette fenêtre internationale plus exactement, puisque ces joueurs-là précisément ne sont pas en trêve. Onga 2 qui lui aussi manque son dégagement. Tchatchoua qui va s'imposer physiquement et réussir à conserver le ballon. Quel magnifique geste défensif de la part de Jadson Tchatchoua. Castelletto qui a bien appuyé sa passe et elle peut profiter pourquoi pas à Vincent Aboubakar qui va manquer un petit peu de vitesse. Là face à Anyembe, il y avait de toute façon signalé contre lui une position de hors-jeu. Castelletto cette fois-ci. Koundé avec la course de Bassolo. Le Bassolo de l'extérieur a fonctionné avec Tolo encore une fois. Le centre de Tolo, très rapidement contré par Anyembe. Nouvelle possibilité peut-être. Ce sera annihilé par le duo kényan Onyango-Anyembe. Et bien fait ça en manche Castelletto qui se rattrape bien de sa petite erreur de tout à l'heure avec cette récupération haute. Et ses coéquipiers n'en font rien. Faute de Castelletto, c'est la deuxième dans cette rencontre.
Looking to get the noses in front here. To at least test Bernard Mondi. And the Kenyan goal has come in for Patrick Matasi today. Matasi was in the firing line for his performance in Yaoundé. Koundé and Bassogog standing over this. Bassogog will leave it for Koundé. Deep delivery. Wasn't quite kept in by Ngadu. At the far post, it is a goal kick. Pierre Koundé, now playing in the United Arab Emirates. It is from Limbe, the English-speaking region of the country. City with a spectacular backdrop, it overlooks the ocean and is in the shadow of Mount Cameroon as well. It's also currently home to the national champions in Cameroon. Victoria United won the MTN Elite 1 last season, but they didn't make it to the group phase of this season's CAF Champions League, losing to Samar Tex of Ghana in the first qualifying round. Tremendous achievement for the club from Limbe to win the title. You think of some of the great names of club football in Cameroon. Zombo-Anguissa, there is space for Bassogog to the left. Pass was not quite good enough, and the chance is passed up for Cameroon. There is Mark Brice, Belgian, who was appointed earlier this year in April. Hooked away by Okumu, helped on by Olunga. Awkward bouncing ball, which Ngadu can't deal with it. This is John Avire. Tries the shot from long range, which is blocked by Chachua. And Mbumo trying to prevent the corner, he's not managed to do so. Ball just crossing the line. Now that first corner kick of the game coming for Kenya. Plenty players forward to attack this. On the left-hand side, swinging delivery met by the head of Olunga. It was a good connection, it was on target, but an easy save for Andre Onana. Greatly experienced Cameroon goalkeeper. Good ball fed through, helped on by Kunde. Martin Ongla, one of the goal scorers in the game in Yaoundé. It was a well-struck effort from Ongla, and turned behind by Omondi for a corner at the other end. We're a third of the way through this game. Two teams looking for the breakthrough. Turning inside to Anthony Akumu, trying the shot which was on target. Kunde is going to deliver this. Basogog alongside him. Bakar among the players waiting in the middle. Castelletto, who made the connection. Defense working hard to get it clear. Back it comes to Chachua. 0-0 between Kenya and Cameroon. I mentioned earlier that Kenya drew 0-0 with Zimbabwe here in this stadium on match day 1. Since then they've played away to Namibia. The game played in Johannesburg. They won 2-1. And then in Yaoundé. Now they're back here in Kampala today. And the match day 2 game between Zimbabwe and Cameroon was played in this stadium as well. Finished 0-0 too, so yet to see a goal in the games played here in this group. Clears by Omondi under pressure. Omondi. Kick it long. Should say that Uganda, the Cranes, have played a couple of their matches in this stadium. They beat the Republic of Congo 2-0 here last month, and then they were 1-0 winners against South Sudan in this stadium a few days ago with a goal from Bevis Mugabe. Uganda playing away to South Sudan. That is tomorrow in Group K, which also features Bafana, South Africa, on level on points with Uganda in the section. 5-0 winners against Congo the other day. couple of goals from the outstanding midfielder Tabo Mokwena in that one. Now then, Cameroon on the front foot again. Koundé charging through the middle. And very nearly opening the scoring. His shot just wide of the post. He's hurt himself in the process there, Pierre Koundé. Terrific running from deep in midfield. Look at this run from Koundé, untracked, just allowed to go in between lines. Got on the end of the pass before Daniel Anyembe could get to it. It was Ongla supplying Koundé. And he was caught on the follow-through by Omondi. Nothing that would lead to a penalty, but certainly I think the presence of the goalkeeper was probably enough to put him off there as he put his shot wide, just prodding it the wrong side of the upright. What a let-off for the Kenyan defence. Won by Castelletto. Bumu, good running by Chachua. Heading towards the byline here. Chachua's ball in. Collected by Omondi. Omondi, one of two home-based players in the Kenyan starting lineup today. The other one being Union Yango of the country's top club, Gor Mahia. Hugely popular, of course, in Kenya. They love their football in Kenya. Gor Mahia of Nairobi, the national champions, but didn't make it to the group stage of the CAF Champions League, heavily beaten by the Egyptian giant Al Ahly in the second qualifying round of that competition. Start of which is almost upon us. Another CAF Champions League getting underway. Will North African clubs dominate again? Forward looking for Avire. It's gone down under the contact from Chachua. It's just two players chasing the same ball. Nothing untoward about it from the Cameroon defender. Back to Ngadu. Ongla. Martin Ongla. Granada in Spain. Cameroon having a disappointing AFCON earlier this year, but they did have a much better campaign as hosts in 2022. Finishing third in the final reckoning, even if, of course, it was heartbreak for them in the semi-finals, losing on penalties to Egypt in Yaoundé. Senegal eventually winning the trophy, beating the Egyptians on penalties in the final. Of survivors in the Cameroon team now who were involved in that competition. Even if the bench has seen a bit of turnover since then. Tony Conceição, the Portuguese coach, was in charge at that AFCON, and then Rigo Belson led them to this year's tournament. And that's Marc Brice, the Belgian. Not forgetting, of course, when they won the AFCON for the last time in 2017. The man in charge was a Belgian, Hugo Broos, now at the helm of South Africa. Had a very impressive AFCON this year in Côte d'Ivoire. Cut back, looking I think for Zombo Anguissa, nearly came to Bassogog. Cameroon are on top here. Clearance coming from Onyango. Kenya on the back foot, really struggling to get a foothold in the game in midfield in particular. Being overrun in that part of the pitch. Nuutolo wins the free kick. I'm not entirely sure what for. Onyango is furious at that decision. Kenyan players will have to just stay cool here. So what can Cameroon do from the dead ball? Once again, Bumo and Bassogog standing over it. 2 men in the wall for Kenya. 5 minutes to half-time. Cameroon given a bit of a let-off when Michael Olunga passed up a great chance to put the Kenyans in front, but since then, the Indomitable Lions have been on top, and this might be the goal. The offside flag up immediately. And not even a chance to begin the celebrations for Cameroon. I think it was Nuutolo who turned it into the net. Mark Brice, the Cameroon coach, I think will be encouraged by the way his team have improved as the first half has gone on. It was offside after that ball was helped on by Zombo Anguissa. 0-0 it remains. Castelletto. Nuutolo, 0-0 between Kenya and Cameroon. 2 previous matches in this stadium in this qualifying campaign have finished goalless, including Cameroon's draw here against Zimbabwe. Well, one or two problems with the pitchers here as half-time approaches in Kampala. We hope to have them back very shortly.
Formula One returns to the USA at the Circuit of the Americas.
Welcome to Austin.
Mighty reaction time from the Papaya McLaren. Lando Norris takes the lead of the US Grand Prix.
It's such a great atmosphere.
He goes to the inside, and Verstappen takes the lead. Late move from Lando Norris. Lewis Hamilton takes second place. Max Verstappen sees a checkered flag. He wins the US Grand Prix.
Two decades after Manchester United's famous treble-winning season, an Old Trafford legend and footballing icon recounts an historic night in Barcelona.
Winner.
chosen that because I'm lifting the trophy and I know that we were winners. 31 years after Manchester United's maiden European triumph, and in front of a record crowd of more than 90,000 at the Camp Nou Stadium, 24-year-old David Beckham lined up against Bayern Munich in the 1999 Champions League final. As a player, you all want to play in Champions League finals, and there's not many players that get that opportunity. So to actually be there, trying to create history with a club that I had supported for years, there was a certain amount of nerves. During the game, when we went 1-0 down early and
bell is on, the senators are preparing to take that vote. Once the vote starts, or that the voting starts, and we understand that we'll be expecting to see the numbers of the
I get the sort of like the medical side of things from Ben Whittaker, we can't comment on whether he was injured or wasn't injured, but his legs were sort of up in the air when he went down, and it was officially called off because of an ankle injury.
Right.
So everyone's now saying, come on, mate, let's see the x-rays, like if that's what it is, because he sort of fell on his neck and his back. But yeah, you felt for Liam Cameron because it was going his way, and he's got an incredible story himself, quite an inspirational story how he's come back into boxing. And they scored a split decision draw, but that was massively controversial because Ben Whittaker's meant to be the next superstar of British boxing, and he didn't deliver there. It was an underwhelming performance, and maybe boxers do have that night, but it was the manner that it finished has left all these question marks on, was he exposed? Did he bottle it? We need to see, so Ben really needs to now produce that evidence, say, no, look, it was my ankle that I'd done, so that's why we couldn't continue, because the fight was stopped and it went to a split decision draw. But whatever happens, we see that again as well. But yeah, we had everything. We had knockouts, we had dramas, we had 3 fighters that actually ended up in the hospital because obviously Ben Whittaker with his ankle, Fraser Clark with his face. Who else was there? There was another fighter as well that was, Chris Eubank Jr., who we've not mentioned yet. He come through again. That was the first fight in over 13 months. Yeah, Chris Eubank Jr. ended up in hospital as well with a cut eye, but he come through against...
and Conor Benn was back in the ring with him again, wasn't he? I see Neymar was trying to keep them apart. It was nuts.
Mate, it's like...
Neymar was in the ring trying to act as the peacemaker.
When you think you've seen it all, you see that. And it's just like, I'm going... Conor Benn was in there, and he had all these, like this black jacket on, his hair brushed back. He looked like an Elvis impersonator in many ways. Like, you had Neymar in the middle, you had Chris Eubank Jr.'s box, they've gone head to head, you go like, showbiz, man. It's all changing.
There is some talk that he could take a backdated ban. We're pretty close to the sort of the end of this road with Conor Benn. If he does, then he could potentially fight Chris Eubank Jr. next year. But he has to accept the ban, doesn't he?
Yeah, exactly. And if he accepts that, then I think you're looking at around May time. I'm hearing rumours are around May time you get that fight happening. Where it happens, I'm not sure, whether it happens on British shores or whether it happens in Saudi Arabia. But it's a fight that sort of, for right or wrong, you go, look, whether you love the situation or whether you hate the situation of what's happened with Conor Benn and, the way that he's sort of like gone through and the way that it's been dealt with, which has been terrible. People say, I don't want to see that fight anyway. Love it or hate it, you're probably going to watch it. And that is a fact. Because of the history of their fathers, we're all everyone's going to have their little moan about how it's come around, but, we'll all watch it, I'm sure.
Just a quick one, because we had Jay Opataya and Jack Massey on the show over the last couple of weeks ahead of their fight.
Lovely guys as well.
Yeah, Joe Gallagher threw the towel in on Jack Massey, didn't he? Jay Opataya does look a bit of a beast. There is some talk about Chris Billam-Smith potentially a fight with him.
Well, that's the fight he's chasing, because he obviously wants to become undisputed cruiserweight champion, and Chris Billam-Smith's fighting November the 16th against Gilberto Ramirez. That's out in Saudi Arabia as well. That's a unification. He's the WBC champ, so there's loads going on at the moment, but I think the winner of that will fight Jai Opataya for the undisputed cruiserweight title. But Jai Opataya, what a performance there. I mean, credit where credit's due to Jack Massey, Joe Gallagher for throwing in the towel when he did, but Jack Massey conducted himself very well against the pound-for-pound number one, and it all come down to levels in the end, and I think that, like I say, Massey had a good start, and he was making Jai Opataya think, but when Jai went through the gears, you just recognise that he's a special fighter. But credit to Jack Massey, Joe Gallagher for throwing the towel in when he done. Great trainer, Joe. I love him. He's a great tactician as well. Breaks the fight down so well. But yeah, credit to all of them. It was honestly, guys, it was a fantastic night. And when you're talking about atmospheres, which I've heard a lot about now, people talking about the atmospheres out there and all that, you go back to the 5v5 with Anthony Joshua. Well, this one was a near capacity crowd, and them early fights. When we go to Wembley Stadium, we talk
see
about
a lot of empty seats on the undercard. Yeah.
When we got to the main event and the Chiefs of Paul, it was absolutely packed in there. Missy Elliott playing in the concert, and it was really good. It was really good. Busta Rhymes, he was there as well. He was very good, but it just created this it give boxing a facelift in many ways. I mean, they even had a woman there that won £150,000 Mercedes.
Right.
Just through entering, because everyone that had a ticket to go to the event like it become a raffle, and and when it got pulled out, you won a Mercedes. So
didn't include the press passes, did it? you weren't in the draw,
unfortunately not, mate. Otherwise I'd have been in there. But yeah, I just thought, what a great thing. Do you know what I mean? Everything was fantastic. So it was the best one I've been to so far.
Wow.
Really,
brilliant.
really good.
Well, we look forward to that rematch. And you've been on the TalkSport Boxing YouTube channel with Adam Cattrall and others, haven't you?
Yeah,
today?
myself, Adam Cattrall and Mr. Simon Jordan. We ain't been together for a while, so that was always going to be very entertaining. Simon had his take on what he thought about the boxing out in Saudi Arabia. So, yeah, you can see that. That's out tonight. We know what Simon Jordan's like. Yeah, exactly. So that's out tonight on the TalkSport Boxing YouTube channel, Talk Boxing, around 8 p.m. Yeah, so Simon being his usual self, but I will say, I put him in his place.
Oh, good.
I put him in his place,
That's
boys. I said, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
That's good. Well, we'll let you go and get some sleep now, Sped.
Cheers, guys.
It's good to see you.
Cheers.
Spencer Oliver there. Yeah, TalkSport Boxing YouTube channel tonight at 8 for all the fallout. A late change on Drive. Jason Cundy's come in for Darren Bent. He's alongside Andy Goldstein, which means Jermaine Pennant will be in for Jason alongside Jamie O'Hara on the Sports Bar at 10. Lots to come, bit of rugby league. We'll keep talking England and potential managers. Look back on the WSL weekend. And how did Maurizio Pochettino do in his first game as the USA manager? We'll find out more about that in the final hour.
Thanks.
Hawksby and Jacobs on TalkSport with Toolstation. Join the Toolstation Club today and get 5% off everything. Toolstation, for a job done right.
The early kickoff, the coupon buster, the acca cracker, the one to swerve. Not with light. You cover with money back as a free bet up to £10 if your bet loses. Available on all markets every Premier League Saturday 12:30 match this season. You won't want to miss another early kickoff. Live score bet, total betting. First pre-match cash bet placed from 9 a.m. Friday before selected match weekly bar price boosts. Free bet valid 7 days on sports. T's and C's apply. Bet responsibly. 18 plus. Gambleaware.org.
As anyone who runs a small business knows, unexpected bills happen.
UK's #1 trade kitchen supplier.
Verify and see price promise at howdens.com/radio. Price law ends November 3rd, 2024. Exclusions, T's and C's apply. Trade customers only.
Andy Goldstein and Darren Bent on TalkSport Drive with Motorpoint. Destination sports conversation fueled by unfiltered opinion with quality guests as standard and a couple of motor mounts.
Something's not right, is it?
That's rubbish. It's the daily radio road trip that takes you to the farthest corners of the nation's football fanscape.
I'm just in my flat, chilling out.
Yeah, I think you might be my favourite so far, mate. Have a wonderful afternoon.
TalkSport Drive this afternoon from 4. TalkSport with Motorpoint. There's no car like a Motorpoint car.
On 1089 and 1053 medium wave. On your mobile and on your smart speaker.
An Oktoberfest of football. TalkSport. Talk Sport.
With Lookers. Buy or sell your vehicle the simple way. Visit lookers.co.uk.
Yes, talking rugby league, women's football, bit of Pochettino and lots more in the final hour. Taking more of your calls, emails, texts and tweets on England, incentives in the Jack Grealish style and lots more besides. But first, But Ben Fletcher has the sports headlines.
Good afternoon. We're told the FA shouldn't worry about splashing the cash on the next England manager if it means getting the best one available. There's talk that there's reluctance to buy Eddie Howe out of his contract when that money could go to grassroots. But that's not how TalkSport's chief football correspondent Alex Crook sees it.
The England manager is the most important thing the FA can spend money on, because it just sets the agenda for the whole country, doesn't it? And that will filter down one way or another. So I think it's quite a short-sighted view if they do shy away from paying compensation or paying top dollar to get the best in class.
What about Lee Carsley? Well, he's given mixed signals on whether he wants the gig full-time. TalkSport's Martin Keown feels he deserves a chance.
I do feel that there is something about him that he could go on to do very well. It's just getting that balance.
Give us an example.
I prefer him to be very good in front of the players rather than the media. If that's his poor suit, then that's fair enough, okay? If he hasn't developed that very well, it's the results I judge him on.
England have to beat Greece on their own turf in November if they're to keep their automatic promotion hopes alive in the Nations League. Tonight, Wales take on Montenegro in Cardiff. There's no Brennan Johnson. The informed Spurs winger is suspended. A reminder, Tottenham host West Ham in TalkSport's live and exclusive Premier League commentary on Saturday lunchtime. FIFA will open a global dialogue over potential changes to its transfer rules. That's in the wake of the Lassana Diarra case. The European Court of Justice ruled some of world football's regulations are in breach of EU labour laws. And to Pakistan, where England skipper Ben Stokes will return to the 11 for the second test in Multan tomorrow. Matty Potts is also in, with Atkinson and Wokes dropping out.
Talk Sport News.
Men at a higher risk of prostate cancer should be offered a test by GPs, even if they don't have any symptoms. And the King and Queen are heading to Australia on a tour later this week, but it's not without its controversy. More from Amelia at past.
Talk Sport weather with QuickFit. Get 10% off 2 or more Bridgestone Turanza All Season 6 tyres and claim your free Kambuka bottle. Book today at quickfit.com or your local centre. Conditions apply.
Mostly dry this afternoon, cloudy in the south but sunny spells in the north, rain lingering in the northern reaches of Scotland.
On 1089 and 1053 medium wave, on DAB, online and on your smart speaker. Paul Hawksby and Andy Jacobs on Talk Sport.
Good afternoon, Paul Hawksby and Andy Jacobs here on Talk Sport. We're in the final hour. We will reflect on the WSL weekend, dip into the Championship, where there was a brilliant turnout for the Sunderland-Newcastle women's game in the Championship. Over 15,000 spectators.
That is amazing, isn't it?
Also, Mark Wilson, who was part of our top team bringing you the Super League Grand Final from Old Trafford at the weekend, will join us to back on the season as a whole, and indeed on that final, and just an amazing clean sweep of a season for Wigan Warriors. Can anybody unseat them? We'll be asking Mark about that. And yeah, Maurizio Pochettino had his first game in charge of the USA national team.
He'd have been a good England manager.
He would have done, wouldn't he? Probably. I mean, we talked about that at the time. There was all the... I mean, because we spoke to Marcela Maurer, who's an Argentinian sort of broadcaster and journalist, and I said, would that be an issue in Argentina? She said, no, they'd be incredibly proud.
Oh, absolutely.
If an Argentinian manager became the England manager.
Yeah. No.
But that ship has sailed, of course.
Unfortunately.
As a City fan, Eddie Howe is a perfect replacement for Pep. Calm, likes to play forward, doesn't flap. That's if England don't get him, that is. So it's the City fans coveting him. So we're doing a swap deal now, some of the City fans, for Pep. I mean, he was a bit non-committal, but he doesn't need to commit, does he? The onus isn't on him to say, yes, I want it or I don't want it.
Yeah, it's a big season all round for them, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah. Anything else you want to talk about, Andy?
Well, I've got the usual selection of nonsense.
Well, okay. Well, I'm always up for some of your nonsense if you've got some of that there.
I do.
Goalkeepers. will be Cameroon to kick us off in the second half here. But there are changes being made at the break. Kenya introducing Alphonse Omidja in place of Daniel Anyembe, which is a change, possibly a straight swap at right back, and an alteration as well for Cameroon. Pierre Koundé is the player who has made way for him, a straight swap in the centre of the pitch for Cameroon. So one substitution apiece as we get underway again in the second half. This is Zombo Anguissa. Falls for Chachua. Cameroon finished the first half very much on top. Can they press home their advantage in the second half here and turn it into a goal? Kenya had some promising moments in the early stages of the game, but pressed further and further back as the half went on. Further confirmation of the substitution. Daniel Anyembe being replaced by Alphonse Omidja of Gor Mahia at the back for Kenya, and Cameroon replacing Pierre Koundé in the midfield with Boris Inu. Boris Inu Takang, to give you his full name, now playing for DC United in Major League Soccer. He comes on in midfield for the Indomitable Lions, who've won the free kick there for the challenge coming in on Nuutolo. Gadu. Bumo, first time ball on, looking for the run of Jackson Chachua. Well, it does appear to be the same tactical setup for Kenya in the second half, despite that half-time substitution. Keep an eye on that, though. Headed away by Castelletto. It was an awkward high ball. Comes to Ryan Bumo, losing out in the challenge with Eric Otieno. It's a slightly dangerous ball back the way from him. Here's Richard Odada. Possession lost in midfield by Kenya. Abubakar. Inu, the substitute. Hongla with the ball out to the left-hand side. This is Christian Basogog. And a big influence on the game in Yaoundé the other day, but not quite the same today. Challenge coming in on Okumu. Now, Olunga will leave that ball. Picked up on the far side here. Comes into Jukabuya. Across to Eric Otieno. He's got a terrific engine on him, the Kenyan left back, Avire, playing in front of him. Brian Mbumo has played at a consistently high level in the English Premier League in recent seasons with Brentford. Cameroon will be looking for players like him to really step up in the second half here. If they can get the 3 points today, that will pretty much finish off any issues about qualification. They'll be 6 points ahead of Kenya with just 6 points to play for. The ball cut back. Cleared away as far as Inu. Mbumo. Brian Mbumo with the sweeping switch from right to left. Christian Bassogog. Did well, Bassogog, up against Omija. And Cameroon have a corner at the beginning of the second half here. Five green shirts waiting in the middle. The referee from Benin just checking on some pushing and shoving in there. He's just reminding the Kenyan defenders to be careful, as the phrase he used there, and I heard the word penalty coming out of the referee's mouth. Kenyan defenders will have to be very careful indeed. The corner is played short.
Again, nice one.
It's going to be another corner for Cameroon. Comes the cross from Ongla and headed down by Ngadu, and a really good save by Bernard Mondi. Firm hand to stop Cameroon taking the lead. Well, that's the closest we've come to a goal all day, really. And Bernard Mondi brought into the Kenyan starting lineup today with a really crucial interception to deny Michael Ngadu the breakthrough goal. The cross coming in from Matan Ongla was a really inviting ball. Didn't just stop that, Omondi. He turned it away from any further danger. Otieno. Meetings between these nations have been rare up until clash in Yaoundé a few days ago. You had to go back to early 2010 to find the last time that Kenya and Cameroon played each other. That was in a friendly game in Nairobi, which Cameroon won by 3-1. Kenny with the chance here. It comes off the frame of the goal. Onyango nearly putting the Harambee Stars in front. Engin Firat's team so close to taking a shock lead. They've been under real pressure pretty much since the early stages of this game. Cameroon began to take control as the first half went on. Nearly took the lead at the other end a few moments ago. It was left by Alphonso Mija. And on Yango's fizzing effort, Michael Olunga, the captain, was unable to do anything with the follow-up. That ball came at him really far too fast. Andre Onana was beaten all ends up by the shot, but saved by the post. Well, that will have given the Kenyans a big boost. Otieno's cross kept alive at the far post. Olunga comes back for Odada to hit the shot. Johnson Omurwa, forward for Otieno. Loses out against Brian and Boom. Vincent Aboubakar to Zombo Anguissa. Raging from end to end at the moment. Bassogog tries to hit the shot. Bassogog again. Picked up by Nkadu, and now with Brian Mbumu. Aboubakar scored the opening goal from the penalty spot in Yaoundé. Scored the only goal when Cameroon beat Namibia in Garua on match day 1. Well, Cameroon want to get the job done. Remember, they have 7 points after 3 games. Zimbabwe have 5, Kenya have 4, Namibia have lost all 3 games thus far. So Cameroon win today, and they'll be 6 points ahead of Kenya, with just 6 points left to play for, with the better head-to-head record, and they will be there. The indomitable Lions will have their place at the next AFCON finals sewn up, with well over a year to go, of course, until the AFCON takes place. The qualifying campaign will be done and dusted next month. The AFCON doesn't begin in Morocco until the 21st of December next year. It will run through until the 18th of January 2026. The reason we're having the qualifying campaign so far in advance of the next Cup of Nations is because initially the AFCON was due to be played in June and July of next year in Morocco. It's been pushed back in the end because of the pressures of the calendar. There is the new expanded FIFA Club World Cup featuring several leading African nations. That'll take place in the United States in June and July next year. And of course we have the expanded 48-team World Cup taking place in North America in June and July of 2026. So the next AFCON has to fit in between these 2 competitions. Yellow card shown to Alphonse Omidja for persistent fouling. Well, that was a challenge on Bassogog, not a huge amount in it. So free kick then to Cameroon. Gadu and Castelletto, the 2 central defenders, are forward for this. Bassogog and Paine Mbumu standing over the dead ball. Cameroon looking to maintain their unbeaten start in this qualifying campaign and make it 3 wins from 4 games. Mo's delivery helped on its way by a Kenyan defender. Well, Kenya had that huge chance, the shot off the woodwork from Onyango, but Cameroon are on top. Rooney Onyango's effort after Kenya had that terrific opening in the first half as well, when Michael Olunga found himself through on goal, tried to tee it up for Jukabuya. In the end, it was John Avire's shot off target. Otherwise, Cameroon have been the more dangerous team. This is Bassogog. the right-hand side at the moment, lays it back towards Abu Bakar. The captain hits the shot on the turn. Vincent Abu Bakar, hero in Cameroon, came on as a substitute to score the winner in the 2017 AFCON final against Egypt in Libreville. Initially made his name with Coton Sport, of course, in his home city of Garoua. Ongla touches it on for Brian Mbomo. The wingers remaining on opposite sides at the moment for Cameroon. Brian Mbomo on the left, playing it infield. It's collected by Anthony Akumu. Kenya 0, Cameroon 0. Jackson Chachua under pressure. Andre Onana under pressure as well. Very casual. Goodness me, they've got away with that one. The Cameroon defence. We've had an hour of this game, 2/3 of the way through it, goalless in Kampala. Zombo Nkisa. Now then, cut back towards Brandon Bomo, looking to lay it off for Abu Bakar. Quality not quite there in the final thirds.
Concentration. Mika, wall.
Well, Engin Ferrat, the Kenya coach, hoping to see his side pull off a famous victory. Kenya, remember, not involved in the qualifying campaign for the last AFCON. And currently trailing Zimbabwe in the race to finish certainly second behind Cameroon at least in this qualifying group. You can really do with a victory today. The shot coming in, it's a stunning goal. It's the substitute, Boris Ino, who puts Cameroon in front with a sensational hit from long range. Cameroon, the leaders in this qualifying group, heading towards the finals in Morocco, thanks to a sensational strike from one of the newest faces in the national team, Boris Ino, with the debut goal. And a player who Mark Priest the Cameroon coach rates very highly, leading European clubs without breaking into the first team at Racing Club de Lens in France, at FC Porto in Portugal, who had a spell in Israel before moving to DC United in Major League Soccer this year, breaking into the full Cameroon national team and coming up with that. A moment of real quality to break the deadlock here in Kampala. And now Kenya are chasing this game when a defeat may be very damaging indeed to their prospects of qualifying for the next Cup of Nations. But Cameroon are on course to secure their place. It's ahead of the last couple of qualifiers, remember. In this Group J, Kenya now looking for the equalising goal. The ball into the middle, aimed at Olunga. It's picked by Brian Mbumu. Zomboangisa. It's lovely play from the away side. And out to the left flank here. Basogog whipping the ball in, aimed at Abubakar. And turned behind by Johnson Omurwa for another Cameroon corner. Gadu coming forward again.
You only focus on one side. Go sit down, go sit down.
Castelletto getting his head to that ball. Well, Mark Brice was asked about Boris Eno's quality, speaking to Cameroonian television a few days ago, and he described him as a player with something special, who is daring, who's a good technician with a good shot on it. Well, he proved that with the goal, as Kenya make their second substitution. Duke Abuya is coming off here. Timothy Uma is coming on, the number 10 Uma, who started the game in Yaoundé the other day, and John Avire, the number 21, being replaced with Amos Nondi, another player who started in the first meeting of the teams, coming on as well. Avire a forward, Amos Nondi replacing him.
Coming on is Amos Obiero, shot 17.
He is a defensive-minded player. Timothy Uma is a midfielder, a bit of a tactical tweak here, I think, for Kenya, midway through the second half. We'll keep an eye on how the Kenyan system changes following the double substitution. The free kick given for the challenge on Anthony Akumu. Here comes the free kick beyond everybody. Well, certainly the appointment of Mark Brice was a controversial one in Cameroon, made by the Sports Ministry at a time of disagreement between them and the Cameroonian Federation. It was not Samuel Eto'o's appointment as president of the FECAFOOT. Brice came in April. Eto'o relieved him of his duties in May and then went back on the decision a couple of days later. Brice has stayed on. Even just the other day, there was suggestion from Brice that he might quit of his own volition. That was due to unhappiness about a decision by the Cameroonian Federation to remove one of his assistants, Joachim Mununga, from the list of team officials. But Brice is still in the position, and he is the man who's brought Boris Eno into the squad. He is the man who brought Boris Eno on at half-time, and the result is spectacular. Just as spectacular as the goal itself from Boris Eno, which has Cameroon in the lead here in Kampala. Painumbumo, lovely control. Up against Otieno. Looking for Eno. Richard Odada under pressure. It's picked up by the goal scorer. Chachua. Zomboangisa. Bumo's cross, and there's the header from the captain, Abubakar. Off target. Cameroon looking for the killer second goal here. Vincent Abubakar leading the line for Cameroon. He's playing his club football in Turkey these days. Hatay Spor. Attack this cross from Mbumu brilliantly. Unable to find a target though with the header. Otieno. Richard Odada has only made a couple of brief appearances for Dundee United in the Scottish Premiership this season. Odada suddenly finding himself playing 2 games close together against one of Africa's leading national sides. It's a big ask for him and all of the Kenyan team today. Challenge on Basogog. Well, it was Alfonso Mija who committed the foul. Remember, he is already on a yellow card. Kenyan defender who came on at half-time. Chance for a drinks break for some of these players. Second meeting of the teams in 4 days. They clashed in Yaoundé on Friday. The Amadou Ahidjo Stadium. Kenya just one AFCON appearance in the last 2 decades. That was in 2019 in Egypt. Before that, it was 2004 in Tunisia. There have been a number of other times to the AFCON, including 3 in a row, 1988, 1990 and 1992, but they've never gone beyond the group stage. Just getting there would be a start for the Harambee Stars, and they are in a period of development. The big aim for them is the next one, 2027, on home soil, when they will co-host it with Tanzania and Uganda. That should be a terrific tournament. It always is, of course, the AFCON, and certainly the upcoming edition in Morocco. A chance for the North African nation to showcase some of its infrastructure, some brilliant stadiums, before it co-hosts the World Cup in 2030. Nondi, back to Richard Odada. Back to Johnson Omurwa. Otieno. Ball played forward, looking for Nundi. He's playing in an advanced position in support of Michael Olunga. Timothy Uma on the left-hand side since he entered the fray. Andre Onana ultimately hasn't had too much to do today. Saw that shot from Rooney Onyango come back off the post. Kenya have passed up at least one other good chance today, but Andre Onana has not actually had to make a big save in particular this afternoon. Cameroon have been on top, and they lead thanks to that stunning free kick by the substitute Boris Eno on his debut. And Gadou has taken a knock in that challenge. Well, just a collision, I think, with Timothy Uma. Gadou, 33-year-old veteran, taking his time before getting back to his feet. The referee is getting ready to brandish a yellow card here, and the Kenyans are not happy about that. And you can hear the Kenyan coaching staff protesting. Eric Otieno is the player who's been booked.
Boys, calm down. You cannot stop this race. Calm down. He can't see you.
Calm down is the message from the Kenyan coach to his players. Gadou's going to be okay. Making the peace with the Kenyan coach. 14 minutes of the 90 remaining here in Kampala. It's become overcast. Coming up towards 6 p.m. in the Ugandan capital, the first game of the day on the continent in AFCON qualifying, which will continue tomorrow as well, remember. But in this group, as it stands, it's going to be Cameroon top with 10 points. Neither Kenya nor Namibia will be able to catch them. Cameroon will be celebrating qualification before their final two games in the group, which will come in November. Remember the exact dates we don't yet have, but Cameroon due to play Namibia away and Zimbabwe at home. And the free kick given here, Boris Ino Takan scoring the goal, which has the indomitable Lions in the lead. Gog has been a constant menace today once again. Not quite as lively as he was on Friday in Yaoundé, but he was the player who won the free kick for the challenge by Rooney Onyango. Five green shirts in the penalty box, ready to attack the free kick. Cameroon looking for the second goal, which will secure victory for them here in Kampala today. Kenya up against it, playing their home matches away from home. That's the reality. And there is a problem. A couple of Cameroonian players ending up on the floor. Michael Gadou falling very theatrically. The referee just making clear that he's keeping an eye on everything. Of course, there is no VAR in place today. Too much on the free kick, and it's not a problem in the end for Bernard Mondi, the Kenyan goalkeeper. A defeat for Kenya. Cameroon will be through, and if Zimbabwe get the victory when they play Namibia in Johannesburg a little later today, well, that will leave Zimbabwe on 8 points, Kenya on 4, and it will mean that Kenya will need a result when they play Zimbabwe in their next game. Have to win that one, and that would set up a decisive final day in which Kenya would be looking to get the better of Namibia, while Zimbabwe have to play away in Cameroon. And Namibia, of course, made an impact at the AFCON this year in Côte d'Ivoire. Made it to the last 16 before losing to Angola, but it looks like they're not going to be at the next edition because they've lost their first 3 games in this group, all of them by a single goal, and they're rock bottom. And Zimbabwe will fancy their chances of getting a victory, certainly getting at least a point in that game. Kenya will be up against it in their bid to return to the AFCON finals. Cameroon, meanwhile, with a victory, will be able to revert their focus back to the return of World Cup qualifying. They are top of their World Cup qualifying group with 8 points from 4 games. They've had wins at home against Mauritius and Cape Verde, and draws away to Libya and Angola. It's looking good for the indomitable Lions, who are aiming to reach a 9th World Cup. They are specialists on the African continent when it comes to qualifying for the World Cup. They're 5-time winners of the AFCON as well, remember. 1984 and 1988, then back-to-back editions in 2000 and 2002. And then in 2017, under Hugo Broos, it was a bit of a makeshift squad that he put together that year. Some big players didn't go to the competition in Gabon, and yet they emerged victorious with a big Cameroonian support attending the final in Libreville. Of course, it's just next door for Cameroon. Had hoped to build on that and win on home soil in 2022. It wasn't to be. Zomboangisa, Boris Ino, back the way to Ngadu. Now Andre Onana, sent long downfield, not kept in play by Chachua. Johnson Omurwa for Kenya. Richard Odada. Fairly neat and tidy today, Odada, but it's been difficult for the Kenya midfielders to really dominate in that area. Nondi, too much on the pass, asking a lot of Onyango. Amos Nondi on as a second half substitute after starting in Yaoundé a few days ago. We are going to see another Cameroonian change. Double substitution by the looks of it, and got a glimpse of the number 13, Brice Mumi Nkamalo, who on the official team sheet has been given as an absentee today, but it looks like we are going to see him. There might be a chance for the equaliser for Olunga again. He was a bit slow to pull the trigger. Well, Michael Olunga missed a great chance in the first half when he opted to pass it to Dukabuya instead of shoot, and on that occasion it's almost as if he wasn't quite expecting that ball to come to him. Kenya do at least have the corner. And before the corner is taken, we're going to see a couple of substitutions here. Cameroon bringing off Martin Ongla, who scored in the 4-1 win in Yaoundé on Friday. He's put in another good shift in the midfield today. Martin Atimenge Nzi is going to come on for him. Player based in Israel. And Brice Mumi Nkamalo does enter the fray then. The Dynamo Moscow winger, who was due to start the game today, but the last minute change saw Christian Bassogog start instead. Well, Bassogog is the player who comes off. Kenya bringing on Jonah Ayunga, fresh legs front for the last 6 minutes plus stoppage time. Ayunga coming on for Richard Odad. Well, that's a midfielder off and a striker on, so Kenya effectively going for broke here. What can they do from the corner? Teasing delivery. And in the end, I think it was Zombo Ankisa who got a really important touch on that ball, actually. And the Kenyans feel that that should be their ball. It's been given Cameroon's way, and you can understand their frustration, because had there not been a touch off a Cameroon player at the near post, I think Kenya might have scored there. Look at this again. Well, in fact, it's Michael Ngadu who gets a touch. If he doesn't get a touch, I suspect that ball might have fallen for Onyango. Cameroon survive. Just a reminder, the Indomitable Lions, that they are not safe yet. Confirmation of that Kenyan substitution. Richard Odada been replaced by another Scottish-based member of the Kenyan team, Jonah Ayunga, the English-born striker who plays for St Mirren in the Scottish Premiership. Here is Ayunga. It's a good ball out to the right-hand side for Olunga. Back to Ayunga again. Well, his footwork was neat enough, and he wins free kick in a promising position. Softly given away by Boris Ino, the man who scored Cameroon's goal, remember. Well, Cameroon looking to hold out and secure the 3 points, clinch their spot at the next AFCON. It is crucial because this ends in a draw today, and Zimbabwe win later. Well, Cameroon will not be home and dry by any means. Indeed, they'll be level on points with Zimbabwe, with Kenya just 3 behind, so Cameroon will be looking to hold on. Olunga's shot is blocked. Comes out for the effort from very long distance, which is not a problem for Andre Onana. There is an issue for Cameroon player on the ground here. Now, is it a knock? Kenyan backroom staff. On course for a clean sheet, but Kenya have had opportunities here in Kampala today, but they trailed by a goal to nil. Brilliant free kick from Boris Inu. '24-year-old DC United midfielder making his senior debut for the Indomitable Lions. After securing his move to MLS. Well, there is Boris Inu. He's played 7 games since moving to DC United. The last one was in a 2-1 win away against New England Revolution just over a week ago. Came on as a substitute. Team captain captained by Christian Benteke, the Belgian striker who scored what proved to be the winning goal for DC United in that match. Now then, Kenya still looking for the leveller in the 90th minute. Decision there is a goal kick. Onyango thinks that it should have been a corner. Well, the Kenyan coaching staff are unhappy with the officials once again. It's been the case often today, but I understand their frustration because they're running out of time as they look for an equalising goal which would allow them to salvage a precious point. Ultimately, the quality's not quite been there in the final third for Kenya today. Even when they've managed to get in behind, the majority of the game they've struggled, losing the midfield battle. Ball runs through to Bruno Mondi, beaten by a stunning free kick early in the second half. And that looks like it's going to be the difference for Cameroon today, ahead of the late game in the group between Zimbabwe and Namibia. But still, 5 minutes being added on at the end of this match. Still time maybe for Kenya to rescue a point. Header away by Stiletto. One of the match underway in qualifying elsewhere on the continent today. The Gambia and Madagascar goalless at half-time. 4 other games taking place later this evening, and then a busy card tomorrow. "17 games altogether. The reigning champions Côte d'Ivoire among the teams in action tomorrow. The host nation Morocco will be playing as well. Remember, they are involved in the qualifying campaign to have competitive match practice, but of course they qualify automatically as the hosts. Johnson Omurwa. And the quality needs to be better than that from the Kenyan team. In the final minutes here, Johnson Omurwa playing in Saudi Arabia these days. Certainly on paper, Cameroon heavy favourites. When you look at the world rankings of these teams, Kenya 102nd in the world, Cameroon 53rd. Cameroon are the 8th best nation on the continent. Kenya are 23rd. That does at least suggest that Kenya should just about be qualifying for the AFCON, be among the top 24 teams in Africa, but they haven't been able to become a regular presence at the Cup of Nations in recent times. Omurwa. It's the long ball forward towards Ayunga. It might just fall for Michael Olunga. Challenged by Nzi on the edge of the box. Again, Engin Firat is furious that the decision has not gone Kenya's way. The R&B Stars coach, Otieno. Cross comes in, goes beyond Olunga, all the way out to Onyango on the far side. It's going to fall here for Uma, away by Brian Mbumo. An awkward bounce, picked up by Mumi and Gamalu. At the moment, Cameroon are the ones who are sitting back and having to soak up all the pressure. Amos Nondi. Well, it's come on Yango last. It's going to be a goal kick. And Cameroon are heading for the victory after a deeply disappointing AFCON campaign. Côte d'Ivoire at the beginning of the year, they will be very pleased with the way they've started their qualifying campaign. For the next AFCON, it's going to be 10 points from a possible 12 for Andre Onana and his teammates, and a place at the finals wrapped up already. away by Otieno. Now the challenge coming in by Castelletto on Michael Olunga. The referee may finally have lost his patience with Jean-Charles Castelletto, who committed a couple of fouls in the first half. Cameroon have avoided a booking today, but Castelletto gets one there. Into the starting lineup today in place of Christopher Wu, another French-based centre-back. Well, this will be the last chance for Kenya to grab an equalising goal in the 95th minute. Otieno have to get the ball into the box. They have to gamble. Headed on by Okumu, it nearly fell for Olunga. Back to Otieno again. Can't fault them for effort. And that ball flashing across the face of goal. Agonising for Kenya and heart-stopping for Cameroon as well. That is that. Cameroon have got the victory. It seems to be all friendly between Ngadu and Joseph Okumu, but the reality is that there will be desperate disappointment for the Kenyans. It was always going to be a huge challenge for them, this doubleheader against Cameroon, the 5-time AFCON winners. They would have hoped to have taken at least something from 2 games, but in the end it's 2 defeats for the Harambee Stars, and that really seriously compromises their chances of qualifying for the next AFCON. And yet for Cameroon, with 10 points from a possible 12 in Group J, they are going to be heading to the next AFCON, because neither Kenya nor Namibia can now catch them.